All right, everyone, we have some reparations grifting going on. I can assure you, while Kamala Harris is far left, she is a socialist. She's in the vein of Bernie Sanders, for example. If she is elected, there will be no reparations. It is a grift. This is a perpetual thing now for people that are on the far left, like Kamala Harris is, to promise that they're going to give taxpayer money to certain groups of people based on the color of their skin. But it is a grift. It's a grift because you got to understand, no court in the land, no reasonable court at least, is going to uphold such a bill. It's just like the plan to give student loan debt forgiveness under the Biden administration. 3 times the Biden administration has tried and failed to pass student loan debt forgiveness. This is on purpose. Basically what you do, let's say you're a member of a liberal administration. You say, I want to give you free money. And the courts inevitably step in and say, you're not allowed to give free money to people because, that's taxpayer funding and you're doing it race-based or gender-based or whatever it happens to be. And then you can complain. You can say, well, Trump stacked the courts with evil judges that won't let me give you free money. That's the whole grift. But it's never meant to pass in the first place. This has been the case over and over in the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration. And it would be the case if Harris is elected too. She's going to do the same thing. What she'll do is she'll say, well, I think that we need reparations for slavery, which means I want to give black people free money. Even if, none of your relatives were enslaved. You first generation immigrant from Ghana or something like that. You were never enslaved to begin with. By the way, fuck the indentured servants from Ireland and people like that. Probably losing Massachusetts in a re-election match, by the way. But then the courts shoot it down, and then you rinse and repeat. You keep doing it over and over. There's no way to actually get it through because, no reasonable judge, again, is going to side with you. But you make that promise to the voters. You're basically promising them free money. It's like if I were to run for office and I were to say, a chicken in every pot, so to speak. Literally speaking, I'm like, the government's going to subsidize your next chicken dinner or something like that. Some people will vote for you because they believe that you actually intend to go through with it. But you don't. You don't intend to go through with it. You intend for the courts to strike you down, but that doesn't matter. Because the lawyers that you're fielding that go before the court, who funds them? The taxpayers. And so you can just do the big government thing, make people a bunch of bullshit promises, and then, you call it a day. And this is exactly what Kamala Harris is doing. The reparations thing that she's talking about is nothing more than a grift. She did come out years ago and she said she was in favor of some form of reparations. Let's parse this apart and see what it means. Some form of reparations. Keep in mind that Kamala Harris is a legal eagle. She does the lawyer speak thing. These are weasel words, as we call them in the colloquial sense. She didn't make any specific comments about what kind of reparations she supported. She only said that she was in support of some form of reparations. When a person with a legal background talks like this, it means that they're lying to you. It means that they're being deceptive. Well, yeah, it's Kamala Harris, so it doesn't surprise me in the least that she would be, but some people might be surprised to learn that, yes, people who have studied law, occasionally they lie, and sometimes they're paid to do so. Sometimes this is for good, sometimes this is for evil. Everyone hates lawyers until they need one, by the way. I would point that out. But Kamala Harris is definitely grifting with regards to this. You can read her like a book. She's not going to give you fucking reparations. It's not going to happen. No court will uphold it. It's impossible. Legally speaking, it's impossible to uphold the basic premise of reparations. Giving free taxpayer money to people based on their race. Yeah, that's going to go over so well in the Ninth Circuit, especially, or the Fifth Circuit for that matter. It's not going to be upheld. It would get injuncted. It'd go before SCOTUS, and then the Supreme Court will say, you're not allowed to do this. And then they can bitch about the Supreme Court and about the Trump justices and all of those. Oh my God, it's a far-right court. They won't allow us to give you free money. That's the whole grift. But they don't intend to give you that money. They don't intend to give black people a bunch of money simply because they're black or anything like that. Kamala Harris is of mainly Indian extraction anyway. She has nothing in common with somebody who came over from Nigeria or somebody who came over from Rwanda. She has nothing in common with them. She's not had the same sort of life experiences anyway. It's a grift because the whole purpose is to get you to vote for the Democratic Party, and then they basically leave you high and dry. This has happened before, by the way. You got all sorts of promises, for example, under Joe Biden. Were any of them fulfilled, other than the Infrastructure Act, which, cooked the economy? No. No. Everything else was shot down by the courts. That was by design. The idea is you make a promise knowing that it will fail and knowing that you can cast the blame on some other third party because the promise failed. That's the whole point. It's a method of getting votes, basically. Nothing more, nothing less. Kamala has definitely learned from her masters, from her betters, by the way. She's basically taken Biden's playbook, overlapped it with Clinton's playbook, which is telling, and fused the two together in order to try to buy votes from people. And I don't think it'll work in the end. I don't think that she'll be successful. Link in the description, archived, of course. I was laughing, actually, at this. You're trying to give money to people whose family was never enslaved at the expense of people who may have been literal indentured servants. That makes a whole lot of sense, yeah. And by the way, it'll solve the problem. Nobody's going to bitch about it in the future if you give people a payout. It'll never be a societal issue again. This is bullshit. Unmitigated bullshit. Like, we're talking 10 out of 10 levels of nonsense when we're talking about reparations. It won't work. It wouldn't uplift anyone anyway. I mean, you're just going to cook the economy more, so that money's going to be worth less and less. So you give somebody like, let's say you give $50,000 to everyone. Let's say that you even properly limit it. So only people that had an ancestor who was a slave like, 3-4 generations ago, they're the only ones that get it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. You cook the economy, the money is devalued, and that money is not going to be used for any meaningful usage. At this point, under Bidenomics, it's going to be used to buy goddamn groceries. This is the grift of the Kamala Harris campaign. Now, this is why she does the head tossing and the sassy, lady thing, because she has nothing to she doesn't have a platform to stand on. I still don't know her opinion on most things, other than, age-old statements. I know that she's supposedly in favor of reparations, which would be an economic disaster. It'll never happen. I know that she's in favor of abandoning the border, but she was against the border before she was against it. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but there's some crazy shit, definitely. That's about all. Peace out.